If you have a vegetable garden, you are probably making this one disastrous weeding mistake, even without realising it. In fact, we have all made this mistake because it's what we've been told we're supposed to do. Believe it or not, it's pulling too many weeds out of our gardens. I'll explain the details in a moment, but for now the reason why is that less plants equals more degraded soil, which equals less nutritious food. Keep watching and I will show you the only 4 things you need to know to manage weeds and grow nutritious food. Hi, I'm Dr. Wendy Seabrook from Learning from Nature, and I'm filming in Bungalow Community Gardens in Cairns in far northern Australia. The first thing I'd like to share about weeds is about controlling creeping weeds. So they can be plants but also grasses, and this is the sort of very famous couch grass. So these are plants that root along their stems, and so these types of plants I would recommend that yes, you do get rid of them altogether. And the easiest way to do this is don't waste your time sort of pulling them out. You'll be there all day. Use newspaper, overlap the newspaper and put mulch on top, or weed mat, put mulch on top, allow the grass to die, then pull the weed mat out and you can use it in another bed or another time. And it's also good when you've got garden beds and you've got, say, couch growing around the bed. It's a good idea to have a little bit of a barrier, a weed barrier, to stop these creeping grasses coming in. And it can be something like we've got here, which is corrugated iron. It can be logs, it can be lemongrass, it can be comfrey, plants that grow a very dense barrier. Right, the second thing I'd like to share is that where possible, don't pull out the weeds. Leave them in, and then you're leaving the roots in the ground to help aerate your soil, but also more importantly, you're leaving that root tissue in the soil to feed your soil organisms. So the best way to do it is chop and drop, whether you're using something as simple as secateurs like these or a machete. It's really a matter of observing what your weeds are doing. So if you find when you cut them that they reshoot too readily, then you might need to pull them out. But most weeds, if you cut them close to the ground level, they will not reshoot because they're annual plants. And then what you're doing is you're returning the nutrients that they contain to the soil, and in effect you're adding mulch to your soil. And so when people say, oh my God, I don't want to grow weeds because they're removing all of the nutrients from my soil, yes, they might well be taking it up, but if you chop and drop them and put them back on the soil, then you're returning those nutrients to the soil. And the other thing that you're benefiting from, of course, is all of those weeds have got those solar panels, and they're collecting all the solar energy, and with using photosynthesis, they're putting out through their root tissues, but they've also got that energy. When you chop and drop those leaves onto the ground, you've got the nutrients and the energy in there to feed your soil organisms, and your soil organisms are the ones that then get busy recycling those nutrients and making them available to the crops that you want to grow. Having said that about weeds and competition for nutrients, one of the things that weeds can do is they can compete for light and for space with our plants. So if that's happening, like you can see here, that's one case where certainly you would want to cut back those weeds and use them as mulch. It's often though about timing. So when your plants are really small, like your lettuces and your Asian greens and your cabbages and things, then weeds can often be more of a problem. But once those plants get more established, very often the weeds are smaller than your existing crops, and you don't have to be so worried about them. And you know, even if they are creating a little bit of shade, does it really matter? Is it really knocking back your plant? Because often in the summer we actually need some shade to grow our leafy greens. you know, the last thing that I want to share with you, and it's the most important, one of the most important things, is just grow really enough vegetables and a diversity of different vegetables so that you don't have the space for weeds to grow. And that's what Dave's done in his garden here.
So this garden pretty much goes all year around, so do the communal one. So whenever one thing dies, we try to plant whatever the next ready for the season. So this time of the winter we got plenty of mustard, and then we got broccoli, all the brassicas, pak choy, eggplants and all of them. And as soon the wet season kicks in, we will plant things like ivy, turmeric, ginger and all that kind of stuff. So it just manages by itself. So whenever you see something is dying or something is finished their season, you just choose the seeds that are suitable for the season and you interplant them, and then they will control your weed and you get some food.
But just keep in mind that if you do have a lot of weeds in your garden, that's maybe because that your soil is not in good condition. Your soil ecosystem is not working very well. And because weeds are pioneers of degraded soil, they're the ones that repair the soil. And if you'd like to know more about using weeds in these circumstances, have a look at the next video.